Hello everyone, welcome back. I don't know why this took so long for me to build. It took like over an hour when I was recording it in OBS, and for whatever reason when I edited it down it was like over 15 minutes long. So we made a vacation home for the Able sisters. I was half expecting Mabel to actually bring her sisters to the client request thing, and when we were actually there doing the build on the plot, they did not end up showing up until the very end when we were doing the tour, and it was just not something that I expected. Like I said, I'm hoping that whenever I do Cap'n and his family's home, assuming that I actually do that in the future, that it will go more smoothly. I didn't know what I wanted to do for this. I had like a rough idea in my head. It didn't turn out like I thought it would. I'm not really a huge fan of it. I think that it might have helped me if I had made the room sizes a little smaller when we get into the interior here, because they were the biggest size. I like the exterior though, in terms of like the size of the house. I think that makes a lot of sense because we're building for 3 villagers here. Well, 3 NPCs, but whatever. And I'm just not really too thrilled about how the inside came out. Maybe if I had done them on the 8x8 room instead of the big 10x10, it maybe would have like been better in terms of size with all of the items and the proportions and everything. I like how some stuff turned out, but I don't know. I didn't really know how to make like a cozy sewing space. I should have looked up inspiration pictures for this prior to me building it, but I just wanted to sit down and build it because it was something I wanted to do. And spoiler alert, I did not end up getting a promotion in this. I thought that Lottie was going to tell me that I got 40,000 Poki and that we were the greatest of all time designer now, but we're not. So I probably need to do more NPC houses. I know that one of the requirements, I think, for getting promoted is going every day or something, but I just don't have the bandwidth to do that. Me doing a vacation home every day, it doesn't sound fun anymore. It was great when this update first came out and I loved it, and I do like doing the vacation homes, but only if I'm doing it every so often, not every single calendar day. Maybe time traveling would help a bit in doing that, but I guess like consistency is key, and I'm pretty consistent, but there's just something about building vacation homes. You run out of ideas, especially because the engine is so limited in what we can do. There's only a couple of things that we're able to do. We can only do a 2-story house. We're limited to the size of the room, and we're limited to the size of the plot. It's not like we can actually build the house from the ground up like in The Sims. And I love building in The Sims. I love designing in Animal Crossing. I just wish that it was more of a sophisticated engine to like be able to do it and make my designs come to life. I don't know. I also am not a huge fan of the grid system. I mean, I like it for some things, and I'm glad that we're able to do quarter tile placement or whatever on this grid. And there are some things that I love about this game, but I just think that sometimes the designing is a little bit limited. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like bash on Animal Crossing. I love Animal Crossing. It's just that sometimes I find the designing in certain cases to be limiting. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I think I said in a previous video that I started reading One in a Millennial by Kate Kennedy. I can't remember if I actually shared that here. I read like a couple of chapters and then I stopped. It just wasn't for me, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. That's not to say it's not good. I then tried reading Shatter Me, which I know came out a million years ago. It was also not something I was a huge fan of. I think I got like halfway through the book or a fourth of the way through the book or something, and it just wasn't captivating me. It captivated me a little bit more than the Kate Kennedy one, but I just couldn't find myself wanting to read it. So now I'm reading a second book in a series that I started probably 15 years ago at this point. I read The Face on the Milk Carton, I think when I was in high school or middle school. I know that when I read it, I think I was slightly too young for like the age recommended thing for the book, but like not that it's a bad book, but just some of the themes, I think I was like a little bit too young for it when I read it, but whatever, we're fine. We turned out great. So now I'm reading the second one. It's called Whatever Happened to Janie, and I'm almost done. I actually, I think I have like 1.5 chapters left, if that, of this book. It's by Caroline B. Cooney, and it's a series. There are several books in it. I'm not quite sure how many. It takes place, I think, in the 90s, like in the early 90s, maybe. Or, yeah, I think it's like late 80s, early 90s. I'm not 100% sure. They reference Super Nintendo, and I know that that came out in like the early 90s. So I'm assuming that it's set then. Anyway, the first book, spoiler alert, is about a girl who finds a missing child's face on the back of a milk carton in her school. And it ends up being that she's the missing child. So it's like her trying to piece together what happened. And then the next book in the series that I'm almost done with is the fallout from it and how things are progressing with her and the people in her lives. I don't know how many books are in the series. I want to say like 4 or 5, maybe more than that. It also was turned into a movie. I think it was like a TV movie. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't know about that until a few days ago when I was like looking up the book series, and then I found like a Wikipedia and IMDb article for the movie. And it covers, I think, the first 2 books in the movie. Judging by like the synopsis that I read, it definitely is not the first book that's in this movie. Like, it's the first 2 books, but it has the same name as the first book, I think. And they change a few names in the movie, like the surnames of the people. I don't know why they made that decision, but like whatever. It's an interesting read. If you guys are into like a young adult mystery sort of thing, it's like that. I like the writing style much better than what I was reading in Shatter Me. Again, like no knock to the author. I'm sure that it's a great book. I think it's like a beloved book. Like a lot of people like it and like the series, but it just wasn't for me. Same with the Kate Kennedy thing. So that's what I've been doing. I've been reading a lot, and I've been like gaming a lot, mainly Animal Crossing, Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I think I said this in a video. I'm not getting it on Switch or PC. I am only playing my Apple Arcade save. I think I said it in the video that I did recently where we played it. It's a really cute game if you guys are interested in checking it out. I think for Apple Arcade, you can probably get like a trial of it. When I got one of my devices, like one of my new devices, it came with a trial of Apple Arcade. I think it was when I got my iPad, and I used it, and now I pay for Apple One, so it's like included in that. But I love the game, and it really scratches the Animal Crossing itch, especially because it's constantly being updated with new content, not just like new like aesthetic things to do, but like new content, like new quests and new people to meet in the game. There is multiplayer to it. If you guys are interested in any of the videos I've done on it, you can go to my channel and search. I think one of them at least will be linked in the cards throughout this, so definitely check that out. But it's a really cute game. It's by Sunblink, and I just don't want to transfer to the Switch or the PC version because my save for Apple Arcade cannot transfer over. I talked about this in that video where we played one of the new updates. So again, if you guys are interested, check that out. There's a really active Reddit and Discord community for it. I'm also getting a gaming PC. You may have seen the post that I did on this, and I have a story for that. I didn't really like allude to it much in the post because at that point different decisions had been made, but I had been talking for a while about building a PC. This was a project that my boyfriend and I were going to do together. He has an IT background. He's built computers before for himself. However, a lot of things got in the way and we weren't able to actually like sit down and build it. And then by the time it would have taken to order parts and for everything to come in, I just decided to order a pre-built PC. So I did a little bit of research, but not enough. I was going to order something from Build Redux. I had already put in the order, but they hadn't fulfilled it yet. This was like several days, almost a week after I put in the order. It was still sitting there unfulfilled. I saw really negative reviews about them. Like for the most part, it was either negative or a 50-50, your mileage may vary sort of situation. And that made me nervous. So I reached out to them. I canceled my order. I got refunded from them, which was great. And I'm going with a different PC from a different company. It is an AMD processor, but it has an NVIDIA graphics card. It was between this one or an Intel processor. I know that like AMD has a little bit slower load times with some things, but like to me, it's not not that big of a difference. And after comparing the specs and consulting both internet research and my boyfriend, we all came to the conclusion that it was the best bet for the price. So I'm really looking forward to getting that because EA just re-released The Sims 1 and The Sims 2. I personally am not going to buy The Sims 2 re-release. I think I'm going to get The Sims 1, however, because they did a better job with the UI scaling, in my opinion. I know I've heard that it doesn't scale well if you have your monitor resolution in your game set to 1080p, but for 720 and I think 4K or 1440 or whatever, it scales fine. So I would much rather do that because there's been minimal issues that I've seen with The Sims 1 re-release. I own The Sims 1 Complete Collection on discs. I have it like literally sitting behind me on my bookcase where I'm sitting recording this, but I just don't want to go through the hassle of having to do a million workarounds to install it. I believe that there is an easy way to install the disc versions. I don't know how. I know that there is a starter pack download that is essentially, I think, the re-release, but different. Like you might have to do a couple of things to get it running. It's been around for a long time because essentially The Sims 1 and 2 were abandonware up until now, I guess. But The Sims 2 re-release, I'm not getting that from EA. I have the Ultimate Collection sitting in my EA library. I'm also not going to be using that one. There is a clean starter pack floating around. If you guys are not familiar, go to the Sims 2 subreddit, look up what I'm talking about. But it doesn't come with the IKEA pack in the re-release, which I think is a huge missed opportunity. You can add it in if you copy and paste the folder for the IKEA pack into the legacy directory on your computer. Again, there's information on how to do that on the internet. There's a GitHub page for it. Other Sims YouTubers have talked about it. It's not like a secret, but I would rather go with something that I know has been tried and true and worked for the last 10 years instead of the EA re-release, which from every corner of the internet that I'm seeing online has been riddled with bugs. But it's also a your mileage may vary sort of situation. So if you guys have either the Legacy Collection for 1 or 2, please leave in the comments down below what you think of it, like what your personal experience has been. I'm literally dying to know. I love The Sims. I grew up playing these games. I literally started playing The Sims 1 before I was a teen. It was something that really opened me up to video games and to the life simulation genre, and I want that feeling back. I'm probably looking at it from nostalgia glasses, but quite frankly, I don't care. I played The Sims 3 a lot. The Sims 3 games came out when I was in like late high school going into college, and then when The Sims 4 came out, I was really excited about it. I got the base game at launch. Like I have the physical base game, but it just didn't captivate me. The gameplay I didn't find fun. I played it again when the toddler update came out a few years later, and it still didn't captivate me. And you might be telling me, oh, you need packs. No, the prior Sims games had a lot to do in the base game. In my opinion, The Sims 4 does not. And I just think that from, again, what I've been seeing online, all of the bugs that have been happening with The Sims 4, it's broken beyond belief where the modding community, as usual, surprise, surprise, is carrying the game. The modding community has been great from as far back as the days of The Sims 1 in the year 2000. But in The Sims 4, I feel like you really need mods to make it work properly. And you kind of do for The Sims 3 as well to an extent. I know I had like the mods from Twalin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know. But I had the Nraz mods for the game. It ran well with those installed because it did fix some issues that were going on. And I'm really looking forward to getting back into the older games, especially because they run pretty decently on modern hardware if you know what to do. I know The Sims 1 re-release, at least like from what I've seen, is pretty bug-free for the most part. I've seen some people having issues with crashing and stuff, but other than the UI scaling improperly on 1080p, which I'm surprised they still haven't fixed. As of right now, there have been 2 patches released a couple of days apart for the legacy editions of both games, and they've not mentioned anything about the 1080p scaling, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. I just want to see them run more smoothly because like I want more people to be able to play the games in a readily accessible format. Like there's a whole generation of people who did not play the original Sims or The Sims 2. And it's great that EA released them. I'm glad that they are available to buy. And I know it was just a re-release and not a remaster. However, they could have done more quality assurance testing and more editing to the code, at least in The Sims 2, to be sure that it ran properly before releasing it to consumers. Now they're freaking out because there were so many bugs upon release, and they still have not enabled it to be a 64-bit supported game. It's only 32-bit. And that's the reason why there have been a lot of issues, at least graphically, with like the pink flashing, which is what people refer to as pink soup, because it's a memory texture issue or something. From my understanding though, in I think like the first patch that they released, it was prior to the one that they put out today. Today is February 6th when I'm sitting down to record this audio. But in the original patch that they had put out, I think that somebody saw in the code for the graphics rules maker program that it is supposed to be able to optimize more memory usage, meaning that it should potentially stop the pink soup from happening, but I don't know. I don't have my PC yet when I'm sitting here doing this, so I can't tell you, but that's what people who are smarter than me have said in a Discord server that I'm in. Anyway, let me know down below if you've, first off, played any of the older Sims games that are not 4, and also if you have the Legacy editions of 1 and 2, how they're running for you. If you use other versions of them, how they're running for you on modern hardware. I'm really curious to know. I mean, I know what I know from looking on Reddit and looking in other Discord servers and communities and stuff, but I also want to hear from you guys because like The Sims has been such an important part of my life growing up in terms of like being a game that I could use to play out my own realities and things like that. Like everything for the most part is a perfect world in The Sims world. You get a house, you can easily get a job. It's just so wonderful, utopian. We love it. And I think that it's a wonderful way to be able to escape. And the older games definitely offered a lot more challenge versus like The Sims 4, in my humble opinion, seems very sanitized for it being a T for teen game. I love the wackiness of the older games. It makes me happy. And it makes my heart happy that now more people are able to play these games in 2025. Anyway, we're done with the build. We got 30,000 Poke for our work. I may or may not come back to this and edit it a bit. Most likely will not. I think that they'll be fine. They have a nice little seaside place to hang out and do all their sewing circle stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments, feedback, or suggestions down below and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.